I'm not the pervert. I want the ball. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good wherever you may be on this fine planet, and happy holidays. We're approaching what is probably, as I get older, one of my favorite holidays. I feel like that's a sign of getting old. Like,
oh, I love my little cakes that I made, my candy mints and blah, blah, blah.
I don't know. Sounded right. Just reminded me of my days when I was a kid. I would eat mothballs from my grandmother's couch. That's right, I said it. Anywho, we're going to talk about a pretty fun movie. It has one of the biggest action stars in the movie, but also one of the biggest comedians at the time in a movie. And that movie is Jingle All the Way. Jingle All the Way is a slapstick Christmas comedy about two fathers, Howard Langston, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Myron Larrabee, played by Sinbad, who go to extreme lengths to secure a Turbo Man action figure for their sons on Christmas Eve. What starts as a simple mission spirals into utter chaos with fights, deception, and even a full-on superhero showdown in a holiday parade. This movie is hilarious. It's fun. There's actually two versions of the movie now out there online. Not even online, just literally, we have a physical release of a director's cut of Jingle All the Way. Never thought in my lifetime I would get to experience. Someone deep down on the internet was just like,
give me the Brian Levent cut of Jingle All the Way.
And also, Brian Levent is the director of Jingle All the Way. I know I nerded out for a second, but anywho, the alternate cut is not bad, but it's interesting to know that there are two versions of this movie available to the public, and we'll talk about some of the differences of those movies. There's nothing like crazily that changes, but just it's very interesting to see what music can do for a scene in a movie and the vibes that it completely changes. The movie's premise was based on the real life shopping mania for items like Cabbage Patch Kids and later Tickle Me Elmo. The screenwriter Randy Kornfield drew inspiration from his own experiences seeing parents frantically trying to buy toys. I know what Tickle Me Elmo is, but I don't remember that craze. I do remember the Furby craze. That was crazy. I never got a Furby. I never wanted a Furby, but I think even Furby was like many years later. So I don't know. Arnold Schwarzenegger took on the role to diversify his career after years of action films. He was reportedly paid $20 million for his performance. Arnold did. That's all he was doing. I mean, to a degree, that's all he was doing, but he did have a lot of other comedy movies way before Jingle All the Way. Arnold's most known as an action star, with movies like The Terminator, Terminator 2, Commando, Raw Deal, Predator, The Running Man. I mean, Red Heat even kind of has some humor in it, but Twins is kind of like the first full-blown comedy from maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe, I don't know. But then he went, he jumped back into Total Recall. And then after that, he did Kindergarten Cop, which is a really funny movie. That movie, I remember being terrified by that movie. Ex-husband, coming around to find Dominic, where are you? I'm not the pervert. I want the ball. But after Terminator 2, in the same year that he did Eraser, he also did Jingle All the Way. And then, he followed up with the ultimate hit DC classic, Batman and Robin. But the world kind of knew Arnie more so as the action star and not a comedian star. So it's pretty wild that he apparently got paid 20 million clams to be in this movie. Sinbad's ad-libbing brought much of the humor to the film. For example, the scene where he rants about mail bombs being sent to the government was entirely improvised. That bomb scene totally holds up to this day. I never got into Sinbad's stand-up, to be honest with you. I knew him more so as the family movie actor, if anything. So one of my favorite which I mean, as growing as an adult and then coming to realize who does what on movies, Chris Columbus, not that Chris Columbus the filmmaker. We know him from Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire. And if you didn't know this, Chris Columbus and his daughter produce really, really good horror movies like The Witch, Nosferatu, Lighthouse. Kind of interesting. I love that about Chris Columbus and his daughter, that they go out and produce these awesome horror movies. But anywho, though Brian Levant directed the film, Chris Columbus produced it and had a heavy hand in shaping the film's tone and script. Come on, it's Chris Columbus. This guy, he directed Home Alone. Of course, who else? He also directed the first couple, for at least the first Harry Potter movie. And he also, on top of that, he wrote Gremlins. Like this, if anybody knows a good Christmas movie, it's this guy. Having his hand in shaping this movie's tone, it makes a lot of sense. After the film's release, Turbo Man dolls were manufactured and sold by Tiger Electronics. They became collector's items for fans of the movie. When I was a kid, getting that Turbo Man doll was such a thing, and it was so interesting to see a toy from a movie. This was like probably my first recollection of like the craziness that goes behind like getting a certain toy. Yeah, when that Turbo Man came out, I remember getting that, I think, because my birthday is December 15th. So it's 10 days away from Christmas. And a lot of people are like, oh, did you ever get gypped like on Christmas presents? It's like, I don't think so. I think my parents tried to do the best that they could. But I do remember getting this Turbo Man doll. Maybe I got it for Christmas, but I'm pretty sure I got it for my birthday. That Turbo Man doll was awesome. I think Mondo actually wound up making replicas of those. I should get one of those. These are awesome. Initially, producers wanted Bill Murray or Chevy Chase for the role of Howard. However, the studio decided to go with Schwarzenegger to attract a global audience. Oh my God. I mean, I don't think Chevy Chase would have been good. I mean, I don't think either would actually be good in this circumstance because they're both very dry, but they're also kind of both very miserable. And Howard, as the character, wasn't really a miserable character. I think what Arnie brought into, calling this guy Arnie like he's my best friend, bringing Arnold into a movie like this, he shows that expression of like determination, but also has the comedic chops to deliver a lot of stuff. So I think going with Arnold was probably the best bet for this movie. Although, my God, I would love to see this movie with Bill Murray, more so than I think Chevy Chase. Jim Belushi's cameo as the Mall Santa. The scene where Howard encounters a shady group of Mall Santas was added late in production to amp up the comedy. Belushi's performance as the lead Santa was another highlight, and he too improvised much of his dialogue. Jim Belushi, if you did not know, the brother of John Belushi, he's done a couple movies, I'm pretty sure. I will fact check that in post-production during editing, that him and Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think they did Red Heat together. Drawing a blank. I'm getting over being sick and I only had half a cup of coffee today. That whole segment with the Santas that are just all like, you know, selling aftermarket toys and toys that they made in like Spanish Turbo Man is just probably like the best thing. Aside from Phil Hartman being in the movie, like Phil Hartman is just automatically one of the funniest guys on the planet. That whole segment where it's just like all these like just corrupt Santa Claus is just so good. The movie was the subject of a plagiarism lawsuit in 1998. A Detroit high school teacher claimed the script was based on his 1993 screenplay titled Could This Be Christmas? He won the case and 20th Century Fox was ordered to pay $90 million, later reduced to $1.5 million. I wonder why he wasn't paid out the $19 million and later got $1.5 million. Maybe they only half stole it. I don't know. The grand parade scene was shot in May in Los Angeles, requiring the crew to bring in artificial snow and decorate the streets to simulate a winter wonderland. Now, if we don't know who Jake Lloyd is, Jake Lloyd became most famous for portraying young Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace in 1999. So Jake Lloyd plays Jamie, the Arnie's son. He retired from acting not long after Phantom Menace was released due to bullying and a lot of other situations. I'll include some stuff around here so you can see it up for a hot second. You can pause and do whatever you want with that. Pretty sure that after the credits roll, that there's a whole other piece, a whole another, like that could be what would have been a non-existent sequel to Jingle All the Way, is that Howard forgets to buy his wife a Christmas gift, setting up a humorous final twist. Jingle All the Way 2, let's go. We'll bring it on. Let's go. The Dementor villain in Turbo Man's show is voiced by none other than Richard Mole, best known for his role on the sitcom Night Court. There's a subtle Easter egg when Howard is in the diner with Myron. The song playing on the jukebox is the Christmas song, sung by Nat King Cole. This was Arnold's favorite holiday song. That's my favorite holiday song as well. It would be the Christmas song or Johnny Mathis's Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. So let's talk about the different versions that we have here. The internet says that it is extended cut of Jingle All the Way. However, there's so many different choices where I would say it's a director's cut or a producer's cut. Is someone else's cut. I wouldn't say it's an extended cut. I mean, it is longer. The theatrical version runs at 89 minutes and the extended cut runs at 93 minutes. So for people that don't feel like doing the math, 89 minutes is an hour and 29 minutes and 93 minutes is an hour and 33 minutes. I don't think that that's math, but you get what I'm saying. So there are 11 additional scenes, and the difference overall is that there's 4 minutes and 12 seconds worth of additional extendedness that's going on. The new extended cut is not DVD exclusive or a DVD premiere, since according to the IMDb, almost the same version had already been shown on the US TV channel ABC, almost because 2 lines had to be censored, which were the Mall Santa's line of "That's not my bag" was deleted from television because of its sexual innuendo. Myron's line of "A woman who slept with everybody at the post office but me" was changed to "A woman you don't even know where she lives anymore."
To a woman that slept with everybody at the post office but me!
me! While on the DVD, those lines have not been edited. Apart from that, the changes are the same, so one can assume that the version aired on TV is the same as on the DVD. The new scenes are quite nice, especially James Belushi getting more screen time should please many viewers. Also, the closing gag, Schwarzenegger noticing that because of all the ordeals he went through, he forgot to buy his wife a present as well, has been put behind the last scene of the parade instead of after the credits like in the old version, providing a somewhat rounder experience. There you go, that answered that question. A matter of opinion is the change of the score in two scenes. That's where I notice the biggest change. Sometimes when I'm watching a movie, I don't really see an extension of a scene or anything like that. If it flows right, it flows right. I don't even pick up that that wasn't even in the theatrical version. However, what I noticed the most was that score moment, and it really puts a damper on the movie. It really just shifts it into such a different vibe that is interesting, but it also really shows how much music makes a difference in a movie. Despite its enduring cult status, the movie was poorly received by critics upon its release, earning a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Fans, however, have embraced it as a quite essential holiday comedy. As I said with my Nosferatu video, yeah, I mean, who gives a rat's ass about Rotten Tomatoes? It's very fun to go on Rotten Tomatoes and just look at the audience score over the critic score. Critics are, I'm gonna spoil something here. Sometimes critics are paid off to write a good review. So it's nice to see what a normal person would say about it, not someone hired to say something about a movie. While Jingle All the Way wasn't an immediate critical darling, it's now a beloved holiday staple for its chaotic humor, over-the-top action, and heartfelt message about family and the holiday spirit. It remains a nostalgic watch for fans who grew up in the 90s. That's right, that's it. That is today's video. That is Jingle All the Way. If you have not seen Jingle All the Way, you should probably go see it because it is such a great movie, and go watch it before the holiday season ends. I love getting in watching those Christmas movies. I'm not one of those people that watch, a Christmas movie in July. That's just weird. It just doesn't fit right with my brain. So go check out Jingle All the Way if you have not, and maybe we'll do this again some other time soon.